Hey everybody, welcome to Battleshock. I'm Lucius, and today we're going to be talking about Malign Portents, or Malign Portents, however you want to pronounce it. I'm not going to judge. So I'm a big fan of this new campaign book, which is what Malign Portents is. It's the newest campaign book for Age of Sigmar. The Realm Gate Wars campaign books were a style of campaign that it was okay. It was a little much at once. I know that they had to world build and introduce everything all at once, but I don't know if that was the right way. I mean, at the time, there didn't seem any choice, but at the time, it was in that weird spot the GW was in where they didn't seem to know what they wanted to do with Age of Sigmar. Back before the General's Handbook came out and back before there was a whole lot of direction in things. So we had some awesome miniatures and some good rules, but no points, and a whole bunch of battle plans buried within weird parts of books. So yeah, it was a little chaotic and a little bit much to deal with, and the story honestly wasn't terribly interesting. Like there's a huge number of tomes for the Realm Gate Wars, and it feels like that could have been done instead of like 5 or 6. What was it, 5? It could have been done in probably 2 or 3 and been okay. I'm not judging harshly here. Again, GW seems to have learned a lot, and at least more, to put it more succinctly, they seem to have picked a direction with Age of Sigmar, and they know where they're going now, and they seem to at least know what they're doing, as opposed to just kind of throwing things against the wall and seeing what sticks. So while it was a nice introduction, I guess, it was, again, kind of all over the place, and I don't think I ever completely read a single one of those campaign books. Like, there was a lot to take in. It was a broken up story. It was all over the place. I thought the coolest thing about them was the maps. I thought the maps were pretty neat. Yeah, the maps and the war scrolls, because until the indices came out, we really didn't have a whole lot of indices. I'm talking 40K now. Until the 4 books came out, whose name I can't remember off the top of my head. Maybe they were indexes. Anyway, until that came out, we didn't have another source for war scrolls other than the Realm Gate Wars book, although that wasn't a long period of time. So anyway, fast forward way past the Realm Gate Wars to now. Well, let's unfast forward to about the middle there. There were a lot of complaints about Age of Sigmar, well, for a long time, but even post General's Handbook, when most people agree the game really took off, myself included, there were a lot of complaints about the world, because there's nothing in the Realm Gate Wars books, or even in some of the Black Library books, that really anchored the perspective. Like, you never got a feel for just what daily life was in the mortal realms. Really, you got to look at, the Stormcast Eternals, or the Forces of Khorne, but you didn't get a feel for just how life was. And unlike the old world, which we have obviously we can compare to normal life, this is epic fantasy, so nobody knew exactly what was going on in the realms. So there has been a long haul for getting a better feel for things, and the products that are coming out have done a good job of that. They've really started the world building about last year with the second Silver Tower was what really brought some fluff into it, and then there's been some Black Library novels. It's been a lot more incorporated, and we've got a huge jump forward in that in Malign Portents. Between what you get in the book and the website, because they have a Malign Portents website that is just pumping out short story after short story, showing how the story of Malign Portents affects everybody in the realms. You get a really good feel for what's going on, and they also did a good job in the actual book itself of summarizing what's happened so far in the timeline of Age of Sigmar, and kind of a feel for the realms itself. It's something we haven't really got in a succinct narrative that wasn't a weird space bubble timeline like they have in a lot of the books. So kudos for that. The nice thing about Malign Portents is there's definitely a direction, and it is definitely more my style of campaign book. It's a slim tome. It's really to the point. Every page has a purpose. You get a good amount of story backing up what's going on, followed by narrative missions, pitch battle missions, you get skirmish missions, and you get the portents themselves, which are really the core of the book, along with the war scrolls for the Harbingers, and I'm sure I'm missing some, but that's pretty much most of the book. So the story right now is that Nagash is up to something in Shyish, and it's affecting all the realms. Creepy things are happening everywhere. Like teeth are showing up in corn cobs. Milk is spoiling. Blood is running up the walls. It's bad everywhere. And so it's enough that Vandus Hammerhand had some bad dreams and said, "Hey Sigmar, we should probably figure out what's going on." And apparently Sigmar has now decided to be wiser and actually not intervene and just send his dudes to do so. So the Stormcast Eternals are out and about again, along with just about everybody else. So I don't want to spoil what's going on from what we know so far, but it's a cool storyline. And Nagash is always a good villain because he's so hateable. I mean, the dude is Skeletor from He-Man, cranked up to about 11. I can't not see it that way, especially with the purple. But that's Nagash for you. So the story's good, and it's presented in such a way that it gives you the skeletal framework of things. It gives you the feeling, and especially the art in this book is fantastic too. It just gives you the overall feel. It gives you the atmosphere, and then it just sets you loose to do battle during this time of tribulation when all this crap is going on. It also gives you the rules for the realm of if you're playing in Shaiish, which is one of my favorite things about the game when they actually give the realm rules. The Time of Wars and I left my book upstairs and I forgot the actual name of what they call these at this point, so I apologize. But whenever they give the rules for playing in an area, that's my bread and butter. I love that. And the rules for Shaiish do not disappoint. It's a bunch of good stuff there. There is a bit of a downside that if you really want the full meal deal here to kind of get the full story, you almost have to pick up Legions of Nagash to kind of get an idea of what's going on there. I mean, you don't, but it really helps fill in a few of the blanks that the story leaves so far. Bottom line when it comes to the narrative here is I'm excited to see where the story's going. This is way more fun than the Realm Gate Wars is. Everybody's involved, everybody's affected, and we get some cool new rules to figure things out with too. So on to that, again, there's a bunch of different war scrolls, it's not war scrolls, battle plans, narrative, skirmish, and even pitch battle in the book. All look pretty fun. The skirmish was a surprise actually, and welcome. I'm not a huge fan of skirmish. It feels very, very light, but I think that's the intention. I wish I would have seen something more Mordheim or Necromunda with a little more RPG aspect to it, but that may well be coming out sometime in the future. I don't know what the plan is, but still to see support for it past just the book is cool. Cheers to GW for that. So the real meat of the Malign Portents core book for me, by far and away, is the Portents themselves. So make no mistake, this was just a backdoor way to put command points and stratagems from 40k into Age of Sigmar, and it works wonderfully. So instead of command points, you have prophecy points that are generated. You get a number of per turn. You get a number if you have wizards, if you have one of the harbingers. You get a variable number a turn, and you spend those each turn on different prophecies. Unlike command points, they go away at the end of the turn, so spend them or lose them. You choose a different sign that you're going to follow, which are constellations in the sky, and then each sign has a number of things you can spend those prophecy points on, whether it be buffs, debuffs, attacks. It's just a cool meta currency to do fun things in the game. And of course the signs are very well themed, so you have your aggressive signs, portents if you will. You have your aggressive portents, you have your support portents. They got you covered. You also have each of the harbingers, who are kind of the main focus of the storyline. You get one for each of the factions, each of the big factions, right? Destruction, order, chaos, and death. And then what they do, they get their war scrolls in the book, and besides the fact they generate their own prophecy points, they also come with their own portents, which they can use their points on, which is pretty cool. So as a campaign book, I think it's a really good book. It's a great step forward for Age of Sigmar, and honestly something we needed after the long dry spell we've had since 40k released. The last few releases have come rapid fire again, and they've been great. I mean, Maggotkin was great. Legions of Nagash, I'm a big fan of. I'm still absorbing that. Daughters of Cain, I just picked up and haven't even had a chance to look at yet. But that and all those in Malign Portents, all the start of the year here, we're off to a great start, and it looks like we've got just more cool stuff coming. but this storyline has me hooked, and the support they have for it on the website's great. There's also a global campaign that's running right now. If you're watching this in the future, it'll probably be over, of course. But I'm a big fan of global campaigns, and they're really doing it right this time with you actually fight for which way you want the story to go instead of just for your faction. It's very different from the last global campaign, and that feels really, really cool, actually. That might be something I steal for a future narrative event or league I run, if I ever have time to do so again. So, speaking of stealing stuff and using it for other things, prophecy points and portents are a fantastic addition to the game. I love command points and stratagems in 40k. I love a good meta currency, and I think that prophecy points are pretty fantastic. It's more to keep track of, especially all the options you have, but I think it actually will add a further layer of balance or imbalance, depending. I mean, they seem pretty well balanced to me, but it seems like it could help even the playing field a little bit for armies that don't have a lot of options. I really look forward to playing a lot of games using these prophecy points. I'm hoping that in some manner that they keep carrying them forward and expanding on the idea, because I think it'd be fun in just about any type of game. Friendly, tournaments, if you theme a tournament on Malign Portents, narrative, all the stuff, right? All the fun different ways to play. So bottom line is Malign Portents is a great campaign book. It's got great support from Games Workshop, and it is thick with atmosphere. I actually think my favorite page in the whole book is there's a 2-page spread that has just the all 4 of the Chaos Gods responding to what's going on in Shyish, and it's pretty interesting. It's what you'd expect, but it's nice to see some super high level perspective, I guess. Since this one's been more focused on the ground level stuff, that one cranks it way up. So yeah, check out Malign Portents. I can't wait to see where this goes. I hope it gets a whole lot more support going forward. I gotta say, there seems to be hints of some sort of good aligned undead faction. I don't know how that work, because it's self-fit to death, you would think, but I would love to see a bunch of undead who are not under Gash's control, kind of like the Flesh Eater courts are. They're kind of independent, but not Flesh Eater courts. I'd love to see just regular undead used in a different way, or some new type of undead. I mean, this opens up a lot of possibilities. So, bottom line, check out Malign Portents. It's a great expansion. Play with prophecy points. I want to hear what your games are like when you're using prophecy points and portents, and even the missions in the book, which seem pretty cool. So just let me know in the comments below, and make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.